This is the plaintiff, Ashley Robinson. She says she's known the defendant for about 5 years. She loaned him money, and now that he's broken up with her fiance's sister, he refuses to pay her back. He has some nerve disrespecting her like this, and she's here in the name of justice suing him for every penny of the $600 she loaned him. This is the defendant, Stephen. He says the plaintiff is only suing him because he split up with her fiance's sister. And now she's trying to get back at him. He never borrowed any $600 from the plaintiff. She stole 2 of his car keys, which he had to spend $600 on for new ones, and he owes nothing. He's accused of failing to repay a loan.
All parties, please hit your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leon is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Robertson?
Yes.
All right. How is it that you know the defendant? Tell me what the relationship was or used to be.
He was with my fiance's sister for a while.
Okay. So you were each dating sisters?
Yes.
Erica and Lydia are the sisters?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, at some point during that time, were you guys friendly?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So at some point during that time, it comes to your attention that they need money for rent, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Who brings it to your attention? Who says something to you?
My girlfriend does first. She comes to me because we, share all of our money decisions together.
And what does she say?
She said that Lydia and Steven needed some help this month, and they wanted to borrow the money to cover their rent.
All right. And when you say my girlfriend came to me first, who came to you second?
Oh, no, there was no second. It was just
okay,
her.
I got it. All right. So when your girlfriend, okay, I got it. I just want to make sure there wasn't repeated request. All right. So,
yeah.
So your girlfriend asks you, can we loan the money? And what do you say to her?
Asked her if it was a loan, and I said okay, and they gave her the cash because I had the cash on me.
Okay. How did the cash get from point A to point B? Was it in a check? Was it in? How did it go?
We brought it over to their house.
Okay. Who's we? You and your girlfriend, Erica?
Yes.
All right. You brought it over to their house, and who was at their house?
Lydia.
Okay. And you handed it to Lydia?
Yes.
All right. And then what happens? Just nobody ever pays you back?
Right, correct. I had, in January, I believe it was, I had texted Stephen and asked him about getting the money back because Lydia had already went to jail. And he sent me a message back and says she had violated her probation.
By doing what?
A dirty urine test.
Okay. What was she on probation for?
Burglary.
That'll do it. So when did Lydia get back into custody?
In October 2nd.
Okay. And so you approach him many months. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we had also loaned them money for Lydia's legal fees, but we put that cost on to Lydia at the same time.
Right.
And we put his cost on him.
Okay. Well, and that's the rub, right? Are these his costs? So let me ask you, you don't want to pay back this $600, but this $600 went to help pay the roof over your head. So what is your defense to the lawsuit?
Well, I want to start off by me and Lydia had spoke about borrowing the money, correct? But she had mentioned that she wasn't sure if she was going to do it yet because she wasn't sure what Erica was going to say. And that was about the end of the conversation there. And then I forget exactly when it came, because I wasn't home, that the money was even borrowed.
Okay, so according to you then, Stephen, you weren't part of the borrowing?
Correct.
That this is Lydia's deal and Lydia should have to pay it back?
Correct.
All right, now, was there ever a text where he agreed to pay it back?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that this one that says, no one said a trying about the lawyer, I will pay back what we borrowed, I'm not flushed? Is that the text you're talking about? All right, so at some point, did you offer to pay the rent money back?
Yeah, I told her what she wanted to hear. I'm a single father of 2 children, and I'm doing everything that I can. And there's no feasible way to come up with an extra $600 to money that I didn't even know was borrowed.
How did you and Lydia, or why did you and Lydia break up?
Because of the situation that she was in.
How did the plaintiff and her girlfriend take that? Do you feel like there's some animosity between you now?
Yes.
Why?
Well, on February 6th, my daughter came home from school, and she called me immediately and told me that the back door was still open, meaning cracked open, not unlocked. That's how we exit through the rear door. And I told her that was strange, and I thought maybe that she left it open, but she left through the front door, she said. And
How old's your daughter?
Home, 13. And she came to the back door to come in and noticed that the door was open. And I told her to go upstairs and check and make sure that there are things still in the house to make sure nothing was missing.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that there's bad blood between Erica and Ms. Robertson and you based on you breaking up with Lydia?
I believe she holds it against me a little bit. I mean, she went after.
Did you do the breaking up?
It was pretty mutual.
Okay. And is Lydia still in custody now?
Yes.
All right. Now, and what makes you feel that there's bad blood? At some point, your 13-year-old calls you and tells you the back door is open, and what do you discover?
She came in the house, and she was looking around, and she was noticing pictures missing off the wall, and I told her to go to my bedroom.
Your daughter?
Yes,
Your
correct.
daughter, okay.
Yeah, and I immediately told her, because the only one who has a spare key, other than my mom, is Erica. So I asked her to go upstairs, and she said that the bedroom had been gone through. She wasn't sure what was taken, but things were definitely moved around from her knowledge. And when I got home that evening, I started noticing things that were missing, and I wasn't too happy with it.
What was missing?
Two sets of car keys, a Samsung smartwatch.
Was the car? Hold on one second. Was the car missing?
No, it wasn't. But until I could get it rekeyed, I was worried that it wasn't going to be there the next morning because I'd had no keys.
Right. Okay. Go on.
And,
a Samsung smartwatch.
Correct. And
what else?
The watch, the keys, and the key fob to the Nissan Altima that I had to replace that as well.
Anything else?
Other than the pictures, I mean, it was just odds and ends. I mean, there was something.
Pictures. Tell me about the pictures that were missing.
It was pictures of my two kids and I and Lydia in our bedroom.
Was it always? How many pictures were missing?
Maybe 5 or 6.
And was Lydia in all of them?
Cluster. I do not recall, but definitely probably a majority of them.
All right, and what makes you think that Ms. Robertson has anything to do with that? Because Erica, her girlfriend, is the only one with the other spare key? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, they wherever
Did you guys, Ms. Robertson, did you or Erica go into his living space?
Lydia had asked Erica to go retrieve some of her things, and Erica has a spare key, and they had a spare key to our house too. It was just something we always did.
Okay, so you guys went over there without after the breakup?
We did not touch any keys. We still had no car keys. Have no.
Hold on one second. I'm asking you, did you take that spare key after Stephen and Lydia broke up and go over to Stephen's apartment in order to get Lydia's stuff? Is that what happened?
I didn't. My fiance did.
Okay, so when Erica did that, did she ever run by Stephen, hey, I'm going to come by at a certain time and pick up Lydia's stuff, or did she just show up and take what?
She had told him that she would be by there at some time.
Okay, did she tell him it was going to be this time?
No, she just said she was going to go by and get some of Lydia's stuff.
Okay, and do you have any reason to believe that Erica's mad at you and might have taken these things to cost you money? I mean, what makes you think she took them?
Well, she told me that if I made things right with her sister, that I basically would get my stuff back.
Well, I was missing that part. So she basically held your stuff hostage she actually said that to you?
She said it in a text, yes, ma'am.
The police actually called us to investigate this, and that is not true at all. She never said that she was holding his stuff for a hostage.
You have it in a text? Hold on. I want to see the text.
She said she would have his house key back.
I want to see this. His house key back. Did she say anything about the car keys or just the house key?
Basically the stuff in general that she removed.
No. Let's look at the text. We're going to look at the text and we're going to see what the text says. So what date is that text so that I can find it?
I'm sorry, I don't have the date to that.
Stephen, tell me what date text you want me to look at. Show me the text, Stephen, because you didn't submit that into evidence. So you submitted nothing into evidence. So if you have the text, get it on your phone and put it up to the camera, please.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Stephen, go ahead. You found it?
Yes. Oh, the one where I was asking about my keys. It says, I need my keys this morning or action will be taken by law enforcement. And then she replied, Stephen, stop harassing me or I will file a formal complaint. I told you, you can have your keys back. All I want is Lydia's stuff back. I will go through your mom or the local PD to get it. Now leave me alone or I will block you.
Your Honor, that
The
does say
word
house
key
keys.
is
You left that
plural?
out.
Yeah,
It
but
said house keys.
It says keys.
I have house keys, I assure you.
raise it higher.
It
Let me
said
see
house
yours.
keys, Your Honor. Even his said house keys. I just
Let
saw
me
it.
see. Let me see.
Trying.
Okay, put it down. It's house keys. The text says house keys, right? And you omitted the word house when you were talking? Stephen,
Yes, ma'am.
why'd you do that? Why didn't you read the word house?
I apologize. I mean, it was a bunch of keys. I mean, whatever was on the key ring itself with the house keys and the car keys.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. Will the plaintiff get her $600 from the defendant, or is the defendant right that this is just sour grapes over a woman's scorn? Let's go back into the courtroom.
Here's the problem that we have, Ms. Robertson, as much as I don't like what just happened there. What needs to happen when you loan someone money and you want them on the hook is that you take the nearest crayon and the nearest roll of toilet paper and you write out IOUX and the time when it's going to be paid and everything else. I went very specifically through the facts of the case because facts matter, especially in this case, where you tell me that Lydia went to Erica, Erica went to you, and then you two give the money to Lydia. I know that Stephen is a beneficiary of that. I know that's the rent where the place where they were living. And I know that at some point he tells you what you want to hear and tells you, oh, yeah, I'll pay you, I just don't have the money. But when someone says they'll pay you, that doesn't automatically mean that they have to pay you. They have to have had an obligation at the beginning, otherwise it's just an empty promise. Because a contract is when two sides give up something. There has to be an offer and an acceptance and a meeting of those minds. And the offer is Lydia saying, I'll pay you back if you loan me the money, Erica. And the acceptance is Erica saying, yes, I'll loan you the money and I'll pay you back. That's what happened. And then when the two of you go over to give the money to Lydia, you're part of it too. And there's where the contract is. Just because it ends up paying for the roof over his head and his kids' heads, maybe there's a moral obligation for him to pay back Lydia's debts, but there is no legal obligation. And the fact that he promises to take over someone else's legal obligation and then changes his mind is just an unenforceable promise. That is not where the contract lies. The contract lies in the beginning when the money is asked for and the money is borrowed. So based on that, I have to find in Stephen's favor and rule in favor of the defendant. Good luck, folks.
So it didn't work out for the plaintiff in this case. She loses. Let's talk to her. Ms. Robertson, you just heard the judge's decision. What do you think?
I think that I just didn't have adequate proof that Stephen knew what was going on, that this was a loan. That's my problem.
So is that over now? The case is finally over. You're not going to get the money back. What are you going to do?
Move on. What can you do?
Okay, move on with your life. All right, let's talk to Stephen for a moment. You know, Stephen, it's interesting. When you said the door to the house was open and your daughter called you, you know what I was thinking? If that had been me, instead of telling her to go search the house, I'd have told her to go next door and call the cops. There may be somebody in there. Never crossed your mind, did it?
No, it didn't. And I wasn't thinking thoroughly. I just never thought anybody would break into the house. I never thought, any trouble could be here. So, I mean, well, whatever happened.
Sign of the times we live in. Listen, you won the lawsuit. You said you didn't owe her money, and the judge agreed with you. So congratulations. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that'll wrap it up for this case. Let's have another version now of our after the verdict conversations between Judge Milian and Judge John, her husband.
Marilyn, sometimes two people can enter into a contract and then somebody else is what we call a third-party beneficiary under the contract. But normally, third-party beneficiaries don't get obligations under that contract. Is that fair to say?
Right. I mean, the people who are obligated are the people who made the deal. And I think it's pretty clear that it was Lydia borrowing the money. And she's, she lost the lawsuit and she can't get it against Stephen. She can obviously try to collect against Lydia, who's the one who borrowed the money. But unless he obligates himself from the beginning, the fact that it helped him out, that doesn't mean that he's obligated.
Or the fact that later on he said, oh, yeah, I'll pay you back that. I'll pay that money.
See, that's an empty promise. That happens a lot, and that's not a new contract. A lot of people feel like that. Oh, well, but he said he'd pay
well,
it.
Now he's on the hook.
But that doesn't rise to the level of a contract. It's just an empty, unenforceable promise unless the other side can show that they relied on that promise. Then that would be the thing that each side gives up. So this is a situation where basically it was just, hey, are you going to pay this? And he goes, yeah, I'll pay you when I can. But that was it. There was no legal detrimental reliance upon it where because he said that I went out and I loaned more money or I did something else. Just the fact that you want him to pay because he said he would pay doesn't make a new contract.
Right, and maybe you should have paid.
Yeah, he should have paid. He certainly had him. That's why I threw in the moral obligation. But if he can't, he can't. What can I say?
Moral obligation's not enforceable.
Right.
There you have it.
Ashlyn, it's actually a little bit complicated. If it is a contract case, when an obligation becomes due, that is typically when the statute of limitations begins to run. There are other situations, for example, a loan where there's no due date. When a demand is made, that's when the statute starts to run. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.